Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call the preliminary budget meeting to order. Assuming everybody had a little bit of a chance to review it, we do have a newer copy, a more updated copy that Chelsea provided today. So I guess what she has here is general fund, and granted this is just preliminary, it's $266,789.92. The library and airport each are allowed 4 mills, which would be $19,871, and special assessment deficiency comes to $311,533.12. So basically what we'll do is we'll go through the budget item, I guess, line by line.
Okay.
Any questions? Feel free to speak up. So what we have, I mean, obviously you can see the 21-22 budget and proposed 23. You got to the colored pages here, these here. So a lot of these we kind of go by what was years past, and then just kind of generally a lot of them can change a little bit, but not a lot. But then there are some that change a lot. So basically, the up on the top line, the general property tax, that's left blank until we decide how much we need. But first, you got your licenses and permits. I don't know. I think that looks good to me. Chelsea, do you have any input on any of this? If you do, just feel free.
Okay.
You move on to intergovernmental revenue. A lot of that is determined. They tell us what we're going to get on that. That comes mostly from the state, right, Chelsea?
Yeah, minus the oil and mainly the oil and gas that can come from their product, but they give a rough projection of where they think that it's going to be sitting for next year, or where it's at this year currently compared to what they projected already for this year to where they think it's going in the next couple of years.
Sure. Okay. Anybody have any question on the first couple?
That state shared revenue, I did put it a little bit higher because they are projecting, I don't know the exact amount, but there's possibly prairie dog funding once that second bucket gets full. That will come in.
Okay.
So.
That's kind of a new category, right? I mean. Yeah,
that's where, instead of putting it into miscellaneous revenue, that was a suggestion of the auditors. If it is coming from the state, or depending on what it is, instead of just putting it there because it's state shared funding. And then we got some of that this year for gaming proceeds. I guess that charitable gaming one, or I guess I just started putting it under the state shared. That every quarter, if they have money left over after gaming permits and stuff, then it's coming back to the cities, and that's been newer this year. So I kind of just put that all under that shared revenue account because it's not necessarily something that we see every single month like these other 5.
Okay. Okay, moving on, miscellaneous revenue. I don't see any issue there. Anybody else? Any questions? Speak up. Okay, so then we got the total general fund revenue. We're looking at roughly $417,950. Okay, then we get into the expenses. You've got your governing board, the judge.
Hey Larry, can I back up?
Yes.
A second? On this here, Chelsea, the miscellaneous revenues, this dropped to 10 from 25, is that, or am I reading that right?
Yeah, because I'm trying not to put anything underneath miscellaneous revenue.
Okay. So it
That
wasn't
doesn't
meant-
have to be in there, and I believe, and that was just kind of budgeted from the last
Yeah.
year's, but I'm trying to separate that out so it is all being coded instead of just miscellaneous, so that we know where it's at if something does get deposited in there,
Okay.
where it's easier to track
Then
than
miscellaneous.
just miscellaneous, yes,
Okay.
if we can put it to somewhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, very
Yep,
good.
thanks, Larry.
Good. Any other questions on revenue? Anyway, government, you know, we have the, obviously the governing board, the judge, the mayor, the auditor, attorney, assessor.
Nobody's getting any pay raises this year on any of this stuff? Judge or mayor or anything?
Probably not.
Okay.
Isn't the judge, isn't that set by the state or something?
statute.
Huh?
By statute, you mean?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, that I
Hey.
don't know.
I did see something for Shays, I believe, yeah, I mean, that's just, I left them all pretty universal.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a projection as to, well, I mean, you guys' has been said, we'd have to change.
Right, ours isn't gonna change.
No, that would have to be changed through the ordinance, so.
Right.
Yep.
And then like, the assessor, that's through a contract, right, or?
Yeah, they kind of give us a rough estimate of what it is or where it's gonna be increased. It goes based off of properties that he has to do and building permits and how he has to determine all that is kind of how that gets factored into his amount as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see you raise that just a little bit, which is probably where it needs to be, so, okay. Then we got, non-departmental, we're just gonna go through them. Let's see. So non-departmental, you got repair and maintenance, like there's nothing there, is that's covered under something else, I'm assuming those lines under that. You got, repair, you got supplies, that would be under something else, right? So those are 3 blank zeros.
Yeah, I can put something in there if you want, like a catch-all, but normally I guess if they're all going to, we know if it's gonna be general building, if it's the memorial building, if it's water, sewer, their kind of repairs or maintenance,
It goes in there.
trying, yeah, to keep that so that it's
Yeah, no,
coded instead of just,
That works for me. Yeah.
And I see office supplies, you've dropped 10 over the last 3 years too?
yeah.
Okay, you're okay with that?
Yeah, sometimes that gets more, I haven't used it, but there again, I'm trying to code it by who's spending it, if
Okay.
it's like this office, if it's the water, if it's,
Kind
I'm
of
trying
getting
to
away from
get-
miscellaneous?
yeah, them all to
Mhm.
code it too, so I know exactly what it is for,
Okay.
like the buildings.
Okay.
Just so we have a better idea of where it's being spent on what.
Good idea.
Is there something that you switched into, like the computer equipment support? It was like 3,000 and then 23,000, and then obviously the budget increase for 2022. It looks like it'd be 26 at the halfway mark for 23.
I've more so put, our accounting software into that one,
Okay, gotcha.
when we switched over under that code, going forward. And then that one time we had, so it's the maintenance that is usually now all paid and going underneath there for our yearly, for all of for our accounting.
Okay,
Sam said all those kind of different ones that we have to pay for the yearly fees. I moved those under there, so it was more kind of universal.
Any other questions on non-departmental? Okay, then we go to government, general government buildings and grounds. you'll find wages and salaries and stuff like that, that gets spread out over different accounts. There's highway, there's water, there's sewer, there's, buildings and grounds, it just, that's why it's not all in one spot, which I'm sure most of you know, but.
Yeah.
maybe not.
Erica and Anita are paid strictly out of government buildings and grounds. Matt, Zach, and Adam have a portion coming out of there. And then they're separated out, have a portion coming out of water. Adam's out of water. Matt and Zach and Adam are out of highway, and then they're all three out of sewer as well, a percentage of their wages.
So just a reminder, on our preliminary budget, when we get to our final budget, we can go less, but we can't go more. So our preliminary budget, we have to be at probably our top,
Right.
because we can always lower it, but we can't raise it once the preliminary is done.
And as far as wages and cost of living and everything, you figure I know that's a tough one.
I kind of just projected a little bit higher than what we're sitting at now, kind of based where we're at, but no, I have no idea
And I think that's
kind of
good.
what is going for that with what you guys will be thinking,
Yeah,
so.
and I was hoping you went higher because of inflation and cost of living and everything.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we can always come down, we
Yeah.
can go up though, so.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you banked that.
Could you use the same percent, like over each wages and salary? If so, what percent?
I didn't
No.
break it down to that detail, because I don't have any indication on what anybody's thinking. I just kind of base it off of looking at it and where we were at, and just increasing it by, I think I just increased it. I wasn't sure where.
It's hard to judge
Yeah,
that because.
which I knew if it was talked about today, then if there was something that was a recommendation, I can go back and then take everybody's salaries and say, do a rough estimate of 8%. Okay, here we go. Do a rough estimate of 6%, and then I can go adjust that because I know where everybody's sitting at.
Oh, makes sense because it gets pulled from so many different pools. That would not be easy to do.
I'm sure. Any other questions on that? Building and grounds,
Nope.
memorial building? You don't have janitorial supplies under, memorial building? Bottom of
Way in the bottom.
Yeah, it's the very last one. Or I'd have an amount in there.
assuming we would need something in there probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let me look at. $25,300? 2,500?
How much, 35?
2,500?
Yeah,
Or-
that probably works. So that's actually the number, there's no number for that either, it kinda goes from 132 to nothing and then 133 on the next page.
I know.
But whatever, you figure that out, so,
Yeah, I added that one in there, I think,
okay,
so I could separate that out.
yeah. Okay, any other questions on Memorial Building? Then we go to elections, there is no election this next year, so, rather than 3,200, Chelsea and I thought maybe we drop that down to 1,200 in case there's a special election. That sounds good to everybody?
Yep.
Then you got planning and zoning, it's basically, publications. Looks good. And advertising. Okay. Okay, and then any other questions on that? And then we got, total general government, $450,276. Questions? Good? Okay, police department, that's by contract. Fire department,
So is that locked in then? I mean, that's the contract of 184 then?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one we okayed last month, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's fire department requesting? Nothing? Okay.
I have upped it by 2,000 this year, because it's price of gas. Like, we're already this year at our last year's budget for, gas.
Right, so, yeah, because they've been at 22.6 for a long time, and then they're up to 24.6, which I think makes sense. You know, gas and stuff like that is getting more expensive, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Makes it, is there for 10,000 in the budget this year?
Where has that been in the past?
I don't know. That's a good question. I was kind of looking for that.
There was a line in for it at one time.
Okay, the fire truck savings is on 208 on the next page.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that 1 year
And I don't think there
we
was
took
anything in
out
there.
because
Too short.
we were way short. And then, so we did not have that in the 2020 budget.
So you did.
I was thinking we did last year, but
And I might not have the number in there.
we'll get that on the next page. So, we're close to, let's just finish on this page. So, and the rest of the fire department is license with the phone and all that stuff now, so. And the public works. Okay, you've got, highway and streets. That's, 40,000. Which I think is not, I don't think is bad. I think that works. Okay.
Is there anything like if the, I don't know, gas prices ever go down? I mean, would it gotta be chip sealing or anything when stuff maybe goes lower if it does? First, I mean, would I ever be doing chip sealing or anything?
Oh, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Yeah. It's we decide what, what streets we're gonna do, and, yeah.
Sure. I just didn't know if there'd be like a savings for that or how that all works.
A lot of times that stuff gets specialed out. Depends on where it's at and how the city decides to do it.
And this street, highways and streets right here is just under our general fund. Our 201 account, which we will get to after this, is one of our special accounts, which is all our highways and streets. So that's where a lot of our repairs and maintenance for gas, like all that gets under there, which is there a lot of that expense pertaining to that comes out of that 201 account.
Okay. And then this for what? I mean,
Repair and maintenance on streets.
right.
So it
just
could
like
be for tar, it could be for,
Say that you cut out a chunk,
patching,
patching.
Okay.
a lot of different things. Yeah.
And we haven't done any of that this year.
We will be doing a little bit this year yet, this fall, but we got a few spots. So that land one, that was across the river, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that one's already bought and paid for,
Yep.
so. Okay. If you're thinking of things when we're going through this, like, what about, like, say, buying vehicles or something like that, and you know, we might get to it, just make a little note, and then at the end,
Sure.
you know, we can go back and talk about a lot of different things, so. I've got pickups right here. What? Culture and recreation,
The big pickup.
yeah. So we got the forestry, 3 years old, $6,000. January 3rd.
So the forestry board, Larry, is that an optional levy, or is that,
That just comes out of the general,
okay,
and it's what we decide.
okay, because we've taken over a lot of that responsibility.
Right, they haven't totally disbanded yet,
Right.
but they're looking like they might.
Because that's not a mandated levy,
No.
that's an optional levy that we do, that we just put toward a forestry board.
I think at one time, there was a levy for it, but I can't remember what year it was, but there were like 5 things. It was, I know, it was, I think it was forestry, social security, because social security used to be its own also,
Right.
and that went away. You know, that just went into the general.
Right.
And I think forestry was one, and then there was 3 other ones that went from their own into the general.
Right.
I had a copy of that, but I forgot to write it
Because they're still looking for funding, I'm sure, like when they buy the tree plantings and stuff
Right,
like that.
yeah.
Yep, they turned in a budget.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
all right.
So, anyway, so does this fit in with their budget, the 6,000?
Yeah, that's what they
Okay,
requested.
yeah, which is what it's been for quite some time, or well, at least for a couple of years anyway.
Right.
And then, you know, half of it's for tree removal and half of it's for, you know, supplies and maintenance, so,
Yep.
yeah. And once again, it's a budget,
Right.
you know, it's not set in stone. Insurance reserve looks like that stayed the same. So this miscellaneous, 4,900, that's all into other things, Chelsea? Bottom of the page, kinda.
Yeah, that's kind of the catch-all miscellaneous expense, but I don't really have anything to budget for it, I guess. I mean, I could put a number in there, just we have an expense, but miscellaneous kind of falls under their each own category
Right.
too for,
Which makes more sense to have it under a category than just these. Okay, and then the transfer out. Nothing on that that I know of right now. Okay, and then you've got the total general fund, where we at here? Well, expenditures are 731, 682, but now back to that fire truck savings, that, I see, let's see, so on that last page, this little short one, I see we've got, machinery and equipment.
yeah, those are all old ones that I left on there just to be sure if something needs to go in those.
So I'm wondering, like, I know we have, we budgeted for like some vehicles. Do you know what that's under, like this year? Do you know what?
I think that one underneath equipment. I know we put extra money in just the general public works, and then we put extra money underneath the 201 for a pickup.
Under 201, yeah.
But we kept the money in both places, that's why there was that 40,000 that was in the general for that. And
Oh,
then there
okay,
was-
so repairs and maintenance, that part of that 40 was for a pickup?
Yes.
Okay, got it, okay, good.
Which Adam and I discussed,
Yep,
and I'm going to switch out some of that because I want like the equipment line item versus
Right.
just repairs and maintenance, because it's a purchase, not a
Right.
repair.
Right, right. Okay, and this is where the fire truck savings, I think we need to put the 10,000 in there. Because, I mean, that's what we had agreed to do a long time ago. And I'm pretty sure last year it was in there. I thought it was anyway.
Thinking there was a couple years worth in there.
Yeah, there should have been, yeah.
Yeah,
There
I
was-
just have to figure out where it's at.
Yeah, so, it was, we had it in there for a couple of years, and then one year when we had that big deficit, then we took it out, and then I think we put it back in.
I know, we used it the one year, we had like 50,000, and we used
Yeah.
it, bought that, the big red one,
Yeah,
and we started doing it again,
right, yes, right, yeah,
except for that one year.
right, yeah. But we'll have to check on the 2020, I'm pretty good within. So, so that'll have to go in somewhere under, would that be under then public safety, under fire department then?
Yeah, that's where I would probably put it, so it's all coded underneath there.
Right.
Could a guy add a line item there for vehicle upgrade, so it's right in there?
Under fire department?
Yeah.
That's, I think we talked about that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, a truck savings account, what is under here, and then, yeah, we'll just transfer it over to fire department, I think, so.
So this Chelsea, when that was transferred out, is that?
Will they transfer out the 10,000?
Right.
I bet that's what it was.
Right, yep.
Yeah, that's what it was. It, instead of transfer out, it should be a truck savings account, I would think,
And then that ended up somewhere else.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Chelsea, or? I don't know why there'd be a transfer out.
Might have been my, put these ones there. And I didn't just put them out, so.
Yeah, but I think that's where it would go under that,
Since you
156, 898.
we do this.
Where would you add the pickup? Would that pickup go?
We had that under, Public Works. She was, right below that, fire department, Public Works, we got repairs and maintenance.
So should there be a line item added to that one for vehicle upgrade, or?
I would think. Chelsea would think.
Yeah, I'll put that one to equipment.
Yeah, you would, half and half, or just all to equipment, or what do you think?
What do you guys want?
Should we do one for pickups and then one for, I don't know, where's the stuff for equipment, where would that be? For payloader or street sweeper,
That's under the total one account.
tool, where's that?
That's a couple pages.
A couple pages away,
Back.
yeah, it would be, yeah. Yeah, that's a highway tax distribution, as we get highway tax money, so.
And usually everything that deals with the streets gets coded to that 201 account. Yep.
Well, actually, if we jump ahead to the highway tax account, our budget's gonna show that on 63,000 in whole though. That would be page 104 on the special revenue fund, if you see where that is. This one, it's the one that got the red, 63,540 in the hole. Because basically the highway tax distribution, we're getting 110,000, and the expenses are at 173. I think we can cut the gas and oil and diesel down.
Yeah, I would say that's a little bit high.
What do you think? 20 maybe?
I think it was a day bill.
I think it was, say, do 20 on that, you think, or what, or is that? Cause we're like way over budget on it right now.
Can we take that, equipment out of there and stick it someplace else? That'd be 25,000 out of there then.
Okay, just one second, let's do the gas first. What do you think a good number for gas is?
20 or 25, it's like somewhere in that area.
Who knows what gas is gonna do, but is 20 enough, is 25 too much?
And like you said, who knows what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we could,
Currently decreasing.
until the election's over, but anyway.
Well, let's put it at 25, we can always lower it.
Right, I was gonna say that, let's go 25, because we're gonna finalize the budget in the fall,
Right.
and see where it's trending then.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
25.
Pardon me?
That's 2 months.
Right, so we meet in October, September for budget.
The final budget, well, our final budget will be approved at our October 8th meeting.
October, okay.
Yep. This one has to be approved at our next meeting, because it's due, the prelim is due to the county August 10th.
Okay.
Right.
So they can send out their estimated taxes.
Yeah, I apologize, but we're on Public Works 4,300, right? That's what we're looking at?
Yes,
So, again, maintenance is different from buying equipment. Am I missing something? Should that be different? You know, from your repairs, than your planned
probably.
upgrade? So the guy can keep track
Well,
of it better?
Well, we have a repair and maintenance up above, it's number 14, and that's 20,000, and then you've got maintenance, machine, and equipment. Well, I wonder if maintenance, machine, that doesn't sound, maybe it should just be maintenance and equipment or something, or, no, or maintenance, or machine and equipment, maybe.
But then there's also supplies and maintenance on 18 too. It's 14, 18,
And I apologize, when this says streets and highways, this is the whole town then, or this isn't just up,
Yes,
okay?
the thing is, the highway tax distribution has to be spent on highways, streets. You know, you can't use it for water, it has to be spent on the streets, you know, or something that pertains to it. So it'd be nice if we could hack off another 25 grand somewhere, but, the thing is, if we take it out of here, we've got to add somewhere else.
So many of these are fixed.
I know.
Well, like the street repair itself and patching, that's kind of a known, but the snow removal is kind of the unknown, isn't it? I mean, you just don't know what kind of gear you would have. Is that kind of what we're looking at here, or?
A lot of the snow removal is basically falls under our regular duties. You know, it's a snow removal would be like, if I suppose you have to hire somebody to come in, you know, that's where that would fall under. But then, if you have to do that, we also have an emergency snow fund, and that's limited by law. You can only have like,
2 mils.
no, it's so much per person in town. It's like $5 per person in town in that fund, and then that's a levy item. But we've had so much money in that fund forever that, and I don't remember seeing it anywhere unless it's coming up.
So if I'm understanding you right, this really doesn't, the only thing that if you had to, if it was a heavy snow and you had to hire somebody out then that's really, all of that, the rest of this is just general maintenance, nothing.
Right, pretty much, yeah.
Hey, Larry
I mean,
go ahead.
go ahead, no, but the wages, I mean, obviously, I'm moving it off, but yeah.
You know, in that, so many of these are fixed, I don't know if you're gonna cut any more out of it, I think you're gonna almost have to shore it up.
Yeah.
I don't see where you're gonna cut hardly enough out of here to make a difference.
Well, because with the fixed fuel budget, we're like -38 still, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Can we not adjust the wages and salaries and pull it from a different pool, like we previously, like, pulled from different?
We could probably do that and put more of it underwater and sewer, I'm guessing.
I wouldn't pull too much from water.
I wouldn't like to, no. You kinda base it on, you know, where the work is done, where you base your wages. We could probably move the wages over to Public Works, you know, highways and streets, you know, 2 pages ago. Or a portion of it, you know, would help. And once again, this is a budget, it doesn't have to be, you know, perfect, you know, equal out dollar for dollar. Because, you know, once you get into it, they're never dollar for dollar.
Right,
But you wanna get as close as you can.
right, of course, but with the highway tax distribution being a fix, you know, being able to move that somewhere else just so it's more balanced.
Right. Well, yeah, I think we need to move something out of there.
Wouldn't you say, I mean, since that's not, too dependent on the weather, I mean, if we did budgeted last year and it was $9,000 for gas, even if you doubled that wage, couldn't we take that down to 25,000 on line 20? I mean, I know it's expensive, but.
Yeah, we dropped that to 25.
We did, okay.
Yeah. And that saves 25 there. But yeah, like he said, we're still, what was it, 38,000 more.
Did we use up 25,000 last year on maintenance, machine and equipment? Did we use that, total amount?
Right now, for the year, it's $1,650.
But we're still looking at buying a pickup too.
Right, I know that,
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And that's where that money was for the budgeted for the pickup.
Okay.
But that could be dropped down. We'll have another expense coming out of there here shortly, once I pay the bill next month for the loader.
You turn that into insurance.
I did, yeah.
Well, we could drop that down. I
But,
mean,
yeah, that one could be dropped down. And we could just,
Could add it somewhere else.
You mean drop it down and then add the pickup purchase in another category?
You know, and I don't know why, you know, water and sewer couldn't be used for vehicle purchase too, because, I mean, you use it for all that too. You know, I think maybe put the pickup purchase under sewer, because really nothing's been taken out of sewer for a vehicle in forever,
yeah, there's money in the sewer account.
you know. So I would say let's drop the maintenance machinery and equipment out totally, and then that takes us to a deficit of 13,000.
You would drop all 25 out of there?
I would.
So what are you gonna pay for maintenance on?
Well, we have maintenance up above. Repair and maintenance, we got 20,000 in there, about the middle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
But then there's also supplies maintenance too, so there's
yeah,
a good amount to go around.
yeah, so, and that's,
I just thought more so, yeah, for, like, shop stuff,
right.
tools.
Well, that gets us closer anyway, so, I think that makes sense.
And then the remainder would be in the wages and salaries, which is 35 and 50.
I think for now, we'll leave it at like 13, you know, in the whole one.
And maybe dual make some of the difference.
Right.
Them.
Yeah,
Yeah, wages, though, I mean, it's 35,000, what budget for is 20, I mean, I don't know how much wages have gone up since then, but, I mean,
Currently for the year, we're sitting, as of June, we're sitting at $20,924.79. So, just kind of double that to put it for the end of the year because we're at half a year. And then if I have a better idea of raises, I can, like, knock that down
Right.
percentage-wise, possibly.
Yeah. I think we're sitting good at, you know, getting rid of the 50,000 and then I think, like I said, move that, you know, equipment over to sewer for like a vehicle. I think that makes sense. And I realize I kind of jumped ahead here a little bit on some of this, but
Are we leaving public works for under the general then, back under there for repairs and maintenance at 40,000? Or do we still want to separate that out and maybe put it at 30,000, 10,000 for equipment? Or,
why don't we do that? Let's change that, yeah, let's add equipment, make it 10,000, and repair and maintenance will be 30,000.
Okay.
How's that sound? That's what changes before under public works. I think that makes sense, everybody. That makes sense.
So you're saying like 10 for vehicle and stuff, and how much for equipment?
30. It still leaves us with the 40,000. I think that works. Then there'll be just a little bit of change with, you know, that, because we moved that fire truck over to 10,000. So that adds, but that, yeah, it's not that much change, so. Okay. All right, so, any more questions on the general fund? And not the highway, you know, that we just talked about, the general fund. So, basically, it's gonna change that by about $10,000, so it's gonna be, where are we at? It's about, was it 3,23732?
Yep.
Short, okay. Roughly about, then there's taking off that other 2,500 from the other one, so yeah. It's gonna be roughly 320. But see, that's where our mills come in, to make that difference up. So, I mean, we expect to have a deficiency there with our budget. Any other questions on the general fund? Okay, so now we go to the highway tax distribution, which we've already gone through. Then we go special assessment deficiency. Oh, okay, can you explain that a little bit, Chelsea? So that's 204 special assessment, that's taxes, so general taxes. Is that a mill levy for that one, or? That's debt service, no?
well, that's,
Oh, yeah, special assessment deficiency. So
yeah,
you got 6,000 here, but you got 5,000 on here.
that's a revenue item. This one right here, this 204 special assessment deficiency is a revenue item.
Oh, it is?
Yes, we have an amount that comes from when I get our tax breakdown every month of what gets deposited into our account. We always have this one, or there's an amount that we get through every month that's a revenue item.
Do you need to go?
Is there any ET on? Because I know Mary took me off, but,
I mean, if you need to, you know.
yeah, I could probably go.
Chest pain, so,
Yep.
all right.
Bring you up to speed.
Yeah, we'll bring it to speed, so.
Pete, would you like me to drive you out there, and then if you're gonna come back, you can come, I'll wait for you?
I probably wouldn't come back to chest pain.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see you.
Yep, thanks, Steve.
Okay, so So, okay, I didn't realize that was a revenue, so, okay. I think we're okay there then.
Yeah, and I don't, yeah.
Okay. And then, emergency, public works, okay, there's snow removal in there. Yeah.
Do you wanna take the 1,500 out of the highway and just put 3,500 underneath the emergency? I mean, if we have to hire somebody, if we get snow, but not necessarily an emergency, I don't wanna have to pay it out of that fund when it's not an emergency, like, hopefully we don't have a storm in April again.
Well, if we do, yeah.
A doozy.
We could take it out of there, that 15.
But a
Yeah.
regular snowstorm, there's a difference between a snowstorm and an emergency snowstorm.
Yes, there is,
So-
absolutely. So you're taking out of, highway tax distribution, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking, do we want to put it, leave some in there, or put it all in that emergency, because
We could put an emergency, probably.
you're just gonna classify every snowstorm as an emergency? That's what I'm asking.
I know. No, let's leave it the way it is,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so the savings, that's interest,
Yep, hopefully that increases.
so sales and use. So that's projected revenue?
Yeah, I have to mess with this account a little bit. Well, I think it's all broken down for this projected kind of where we're sitting at, but then it's all broken down with the other projects on where it gets, because so much goes to each different account for the other projects, that, infrastructure, the development of streets, and then economic development projects, which
Mhm.
they get their monthly payment.
But
I think there was, I don't know how
but it's
that
all
was
infrastructure now, right?
paid out of there. Well, yeah, but we still have it broken down percentage-wise when it comes in of what can be,
Well, what can be used for streets and what can be used
Mhm.
otherwise, yeah.
and then
right,
what goes
yeah.
to, that
And then
1
some-
cent is all infrastructure. And then the other cent was broken down between,
No, oh yeah, you're right. And the other one is 90% infrastructure and 10% to, Washburn Light,
correct, yes.
yeah.
Is that where we took the dump truck expenses out of?
I believe so.
Isn't, I mean, dumb question, but isn't this like when anybody sells in town, there's that 2% tax, is that what this is? That,
It's when you buy something in town?
Yes.
Yeah.
so, I guess even if it's given, divvied out to different places, should there be like a total and then a subcategory, so a guy knew where they divvied out to, or how is that? I mean, why wouldn't there be, it's like on 2022, why wouldn't there be a total? You know, there's a total on 21, there's nothing on 22.
Where are you looking?
Line 23.
So sales and use tax for the 250,000? Oh, there's no number in there because this account is wonky.
Okay.
I'm fixing it because of how stuff was paid previously out of, okay, so the sales and use tax, there's a line item underneath the general, and, which is our 1100 account. But then we have the sales and use tax, which has a separate bank account, which is the 1105, which is like this one right here, this 302. When payments were made, I think they just paid it out of the general, but some of that transfers weren't made, so like the bank statement can match up, but on paper it didn't match up. And with the budget, so then I was trying to go through and fix it, so you see this other project for this 8,000, and then on the next page, the community infrastructure of that 801, 802, and 803 for the economic development. So I wanted to go and try to get a little more accurate numbers in there of what's coming in and what's going out. Like, I know that economic development project, they get 10% every month. So what gets deposited into our bank account? I have a spreadsheet with that, that's how I figured it out, and then I take that 10% and,
You get 10% of 1 cent,
yeah,
right.
sorry.
that's
And that's what they get their monthly check for.
Who gets that?
Washburn Life.
Okay.
And this is all set by our home rule charter.
Yes.
So this cannot be changed without an election.
So that 25,000 goes to them then?
That's just what I was budgeting to pay them for next year. It depends on what we get every month. Their check is different every single month,
Okay.
Yeah.
just depending on what their sales are,
yeah,
or
this-
what the city has for sales.
I guess, yeah, we're not obviously done with this year, so I mean, I guess I don't know, do we know where we're at as of to date this year with how much sales and use came in, or?
Yes.
We
and
we
I-
have a pretty substantial amount in sales and use.
We do, yeah. And
Yeah.
I have a whole spreadsheet that separates that out, separately to keep
Yeah.
track of.
Yeah, 'cause it looks like you, like, 21, you're at 200 and you really exceeded that by, 346.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to break it down where we can see where it's all going into these accounts. And then if it gets spent out of there versus it all just being lump sum into this 250,000. So I really should have kind of taken that out and just broken it down between all these separate accounts based off where we're at.
I guess I don't know if I'm there yet. I guess I'm more so this is an income, right? I mean, this is an income to the city.
It's
Yes.
revenue.
Revenue, yep, revenue to the city. So I mean, I don't know if you should bank on that, but it looks like, that's a pretty safe number that could almost go higher, but I don't know if I'd bank on it, but, if you shot past 200 in 2021 and then where you're at in 240 last year, it'd be nice to know where we're at this year.
Well, yeah.
Because that could almost go up, you would think. I mean, don't really care where it's going at this point, but just, it looks like that could go up.
Yep, so those projects underneath there, instead of just banking it all under this 250 for sales and use, I want to try to separate it out to see where we're at for each project,
Mhm.
instead of that 250 there. So some of that, like that 50,000 that's going under the 800 account, the 801 has 10,000, the 802 has 30,000, economic has 25,000. It doesn't add up to that 250, but I want to try and break those down more, so,
Right.
and I'll go adjust those numbers.
Do we have to report those numbers as per se? No?
So what's gonna happen is, at our next regular meeting, we're gonna go through this again, and hopefully she'll have the numbers in there so we can actually, get it, so. Yeah, this is our worksheet, so that, and that's why we're doing this, so we can, have her adjust and make different things here, so. But I do agree with you, Jamie, yeah, we need to know that stuff, so. Okay, so I guess we're kind of waiting on numbers on that one. Lodging tax, that's it,
Yeah, we don't get much from that.
okay? Yeah, it's okay, is there any other questions, more questions on sales and use right now? Okay. Water treatment plant upgrade account. Does that even exist anymore?
No, I want to talk to you about those two accounts.
Okay.
One of them you got rid of, but I was confused on one of the other ones, so,
Yeah, 'cause there was two, and I don't know why.
yeah. The only one that really I know exists anymore is that 426 intake. But nothing's really been done with that anymore, so I didn't put a number in there, which was another question. It's still sitting there with a balance, but
Okay.
we haven't really been doing anything with it. The only thing I guess that would have coming out of it for an expense that I see does not have a line item in here would be those engineering fees.
That's intake.
Yes.
But we have that under the 601 account, right, engineering fees, or would that come out of there? Or,
Yeah, or do you want it broke down by project so we know what technically we're spending? Because some of those are specifically, like some of them is general engineering fees, but some of them are specifically related to a project when we get them from
Right.
AE2S.
yeah, we really should have those separated.
So whether or not we move forward with this intake project or not, but all those engineering fees should be separated out to go through this project.
Right, right. Well, it's kinda like the Main Avenue project, you know, down here, we had everything all separated till it
Yeah.
was done, so. And we're not sure where we're going with that intake project yet, so.
You're right.
So what's the total cap project fund at 97,000? What's that?
Where are you looking?
Number
Down here,
79.
426.
97,000?
Yeah, under
Oh, right here.
426.
That was 2021. That was
107.
their expenses that went out for, in 2021, was that 97,000. 99,000 came in for revenue. 5,000 are miscellaneous, and the engineering fees of 67. So 525, so yeah, that was, those were back in 2021.
Okay. We're not gonna put any money in there this year then, huh?
I don't know if there's anything for this year, that's for engineering fees especially, if we're gonna move forward with it, going into next year, we should have something in there.
Well, if we're going to move forward with that project, we're gonna need to figure out, you know, what the project's gonna be, how we're gonna fund it, first of all. I mean, you know, we have a couple of different ways of funding, whether it be a loan, whether it be, you know, some out of sales and use, some out of the water fund, which probably is gonna happen, the water fund, but, you know, and the thing is, we don't know where we're at because the State Water Commission is gonna meet on our increased funding request on the 11th of August. So, we really don't know where we're at with that. So, it's really hard to even pick a number at this point. I think maybe it's something we need to think about for our next meeting when we do our final preliminary. And figure out, you know, what we want to put in there and where we're going to get it from. The big question mark, if that makes sense to everybody. Thoughts? Chelsea, what do you think on that? I mean,
It's hard to determine because we don't know where we're at.
generally when you're going to do a project though, you kind of figure all this out and then okay, we'll go ahead with this project. You know, it's not, you don't put it in if you don't know where we're going, I think.
And we don't know where we're going.
We have absolutely no idea where we're going. We might not do anything.
Right.
Is there a fund already started for whatever we're gonna do? I mean, shouldn't this, because this is revenue, shouldn't this show this, like, if there's anything left from 21 or 22, shouldn't it, we know that, so we know, I mean,
Well,
because this is all revenue coming in, we're getting from other entities or taxes or...
so this other sheet here, the 426, which one's the revenue? Is this,
The general 426 has a balance of 97,000.
97,000 in it. What's the 115?
That's a whole separate project, which
Okay.
there again is its own separate bank account.
Do you know what project that is?
It's an intake project, it's the 115, which it has a whole separate bank account. But
Okay.
that's why I'm confused on why is there some money in the general, why is there some money in the project
Yeah.
account if it's,
And those were some of the questions that we had there, right? I mean, we wanted to talk about?
Yes.
So, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is 517 is, you said that was the intake?
426.
Or 426?
Yeah, and I noticed that in the past, there are two different ones, and I don't know why.
And then you said the other one, what, 517 was?
No.
517 is a special.
Oh, what'd you say that one was, like, I heard 426?
There were two
1115, those 426 that are both side by side.
There's two of them.
Oh,
One's the
I'm
general
sorry.
fund and one's
Yeah.
the, upgrade, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that upgrade is has a whole separate bank account.
We're gonna have to get you a list. It tells you what each number means.
Yeah,
And believe me, if you don't have that list, it's really hard to follow.
yeah.
We'll have to get that for him, Chelsea. Right, Dope? Yeah, that makes a big difference, knowing where all the funds are.
Because what's listed out here between 304, 305, 426 are all basically for water, basically it's fresh water, not water and sewer, it's just
It's water,
water.
yeah.
And these are all the different ways you could bring revenue in, and then it's supposed to flow to this 426 account, one way or another.
No, that 426 is a whole separate project account.
Right.
Okay,
That's why it's a 400 account. 400 accounts are project accounts.
okay.
So that is completely separate. This 304 upgrade account, one of these was used for the water treatment plant project that was done previously. And then one of them is still functioning. We have 6 different bank accounts. One of them is the general, and then all these ones here have their separate, like sales and use tax is a completely separate, different bank account, so it has its own balance. The lodging tax has its own separate bank account. The water treatment plant does, the capital and project tank, and then these CDs do. But I don't understand why some of it was paid, or where those two numbers coincide, and I haven't figured it out yet.
It's very confusing, it really is.
Yeah, no.
But we're
we could
getting
just-
closer, yeah.
We could just add a heading right here, name of folder, and then basically put it right there, that'd be pretty simple. You know, I don't know, is this on a spreadsheet, or what's this on?
Yeah, and I did it last minute so that there was fund balances there, so I went through and I got some of these on here that I could, and then I ran out of time for you guys to have them.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, I just think of the name of the account, and then you could correlate it to what you got. That helped quite a bit, I think.
Takes a lot of the confusion out of it,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, well, hopefully we'll get that figured out by the next meeting. So the CDs, those are, interest, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
So the library, that's basically, something that goes to the library, right, from the state?
Mhm.
And then
From
like
the
the
county.
miscellaneous expenses, that's, so basically that's their budget, is the 19.5, correct?
Yes.
Same with the airport.
I just put in the amount for the airport because they did request more money on their budget.
They were requested 36?
Yeah, they are limited, so.
Yeah, they're limited to 4. They would have to make a special request to us to
Go more than 4.
go for that.
Okay.
And I'm not willing to put anything in if they don't come and ask. I mean, you know what I mean? That's my opinion anyway.
So the airport last year was how much? The same?
19.5. Yeah, oh, they get, yeah, roughly, they get 4
So it's
mils.
19,316, 'cause they get,
Yeah.
yeah.
They get
So
4
their budget there, that they included for this year, their expected expenses, then their expected income, they have their expected expenses for 2023 is $45,876.25. Income is expected to be $800,877. The airport needs $36,999.25 to maintain the airport in compliance with FAA regulations and to provide for their day-to-day operations. So they're requesting the $36,900.
Oh, so they actually have a request?
Yeah.
So that's on top of their mills?
Or include,
It'd be the additional 12,000, I guess, on top of what they're, because levy requested for 36,900, but they've never requested more money than what they were allotted.
Right. I guess I would really have to know what they want it for. You know, they need to come and ask us.
Can I see their
I
budget?
mean,
how much is a mill bring?
almost $5,000.
$5,000.
49.67.90. Does it say what they want it for?
Yeah, they've got their budget water.
Do they want it for infrastructure, do they want it for,
Yeah.
if they want it for operating expenses, it's a little different than, run over, equipment repair.
Their runway completed? Is that whole project done?
I would doubt it's done, if that expansion, no, that is not done yet. The thing is, if it's for infrastructure, they could go to sales and use tax and request. If it's for everyday, running expenses,
Operating.
no, can't, it's not for that.
They don't have their own equipment, do they?
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
But they borrow our equipment at times too, don't they?
Almost never,
Okay.
yeah. We used to clean out there and stuff, but they got nice equipment out there. They have really nice equipment out there.
Yeah, you're welcome to see it, but I mean, it looks like that extra is from that construction or whatever, so.
How often does the airport get used?
A lot.
A lot.
Taxi lane additional cost 2022, so they need 5% for that, so that's 27,000.
So this is about what their 4 mills brings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's a letter that came with this, or not?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I just read.
I know. Really interesting here because it goes lot leases, 4,700, land lease, 3,700, mill levy, nothing, city, nothing, range fee, $400. They didn't even fill them in. So, let's put a question mark on that one. I'd like to look into that one a little bit closer. Any other questions on the airport one?
There isn't the airport in general being constructed, everything about it.
Well, not their expense, not operating expenses, no. Fuel, oil, gas, electricity, that is not infrastructure. Infrastructure actually, like a vehicle, a building, runway, that's infrastructure. So, and that's all that, facilities can be used for. Can't be used to pay off a loan, it can't be used for operating expenses. That's, what was voted on, the last time, so. Move on, or how are we doing here? We'll
Yeah,
look at
that's fine.
We'll look at that closer. Not really sure where this last page comes in. It says fire department miscellaneous revenue. And then fire department expense, nothing.
That might have been on there from the old spreadsheet.
Miscellaneous revenue was what, 1,800 something?
Yep.
That's the rural board's donation to the insurance for the equipment.
Okay. Any more questions on any of these funds?
Yeah, why?
No? Okay. So now we go to the debt service funds. Basically, these are our special assessments.
These first couple are blank because they are paid off
Yay.
after this year. And then the next two, I believe, our last payment for them is in 2023.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it says right there.
And those were done in '07, right? Should be the
These
first
two,
one.
right, yeah.
And the next ones were done in '09. So basically, the first two numbers that you see are the year that they were done. So you got like, say, take the first one there, it's like root addition 072.81. That's in 2007. It's some of them you see a balance, some of them you see a negative. These are getting way better. At one time, the 13 project was like 600,000 in the hole, but then we refinanced it because there was a mistake the way it was done. And that was the one we refinanced several years ago. And we're gonna end up saving $500,000 on it by refinancing. So, and we're working on the 2016 project, which is
The third page,
that would be,
New Street Flowers.
that was actually the 17 one, because they're listed in, when you say 17, that's when the assessments were actually divvied out, you know. A lot of times, it's like the 2016 project would be in 17, would be the special out in 17. And that's, you know, kind of in the hole. But that's the next one that I plan on working on is, because there has to be something there that, for some reason, we didn't special out enough.
Okay.
So, it was kind of like the 13 project did.
So like cost overruns or who knows what?
Yeah, it was, we borrowed like 550,000 more than what we special, they just had it in account, and it was like,
Okay.
what? We thought we had all this money, and it was like, no. There was an error somewhere,
Okay,
but it happens.
That was before me.
absolutely.
It was before her, yeah. Chelsea's done a lot.
Still cleaning up a mess.
So,
Probably making a bigger one.
any questions on these, the debt service funds?
So if we decide to go through together with a, say, the intake, would that come under a debt service fund then?
A debt service fund is basically special assessment. It can have, well, it's kind of a debt service, but it's more of a loan. You know, future street repairs would be a debt service, you know, if that makes sense, correct?
Yeah. Because we don't plan on specialing any of the residents for our intake project.
No.
We want to find the means to pay for that without having it be a burden to the residents. Whether that be our FEMA grants, all that we're going through and finding that additional money, that's why we're so short, but to go through with it on our own, because we need to make up that cost, that extra range, where now our street projects that we're looking at doing, that would all go into a new debt service then, and be specialed out for the 10 years or whatever street project's gonna be after that, that would go through a whole new.
So the money we'd be short then on an intake project would be what then?
That's what we're trying to find.
So we're trying to find additional funds for it.
Yes, whether it be,
Whether it be that loan or what.
It would be a loan or something, whatever.
Low interest loan, SRF is a low interest loan.
Okay.
The problem with that is right now, in best case scenario, as it sits right now, if the State Water Commission ups our, amount for an individual intake, to the 65% grant, and/or we go with, Red River Valley, we're looking at probably $1.6 to $1.9 million, which isn't gonna happen.
Deficit that we don't have.
Right, and then, but, you know, we're trying to get it so that we can get our costs down to, less than $600,000. That was part of my letter to the State Water Commission, and hopefully it will have a little bit of impact on their meeting on the 11th.
And that would be a debt that we'd have to, but we don't want to charge the citizens for that amount of money, correct?
It would be paid by user fees.
User fees.
You know, we'd probably have to raise water a little bit or whatever.
Okay.
But and I'm thinking, you know, if we do go with Red River Valley Water Supply Project, you know, negotiations haven't even started on that one yet. And they need us way more than we need them. So there's a lot of,
So if I'm following this right, this conversation, this topic basically falls back to 304, 305, how we bring revenue in for that. Basically, this question
For that.
falls under this, way to bring in revenue for the water intake. You know, if we're talking revenue to bring money in, that conversation would fall under this, because this debt service funds is basically your specials. I mean, just your street and sewer to keep it to the houses.
the debt service is when we do a street project.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, this is what you have to, that's your share, what you have to pay over 15 years or whatever.
But as far as the question he brought up, that should more so be under 304, 305, 426, how we're gonna bring in revenue for the water treatment. Would that not be true, or?
No. Under the debt service,
No,
or?
the question he
Yes.
was.
How do you pay back the loan, is that what you're saying, Jim?
I didn't-
Yes, I mean, basically, this debt service is just for cities and the street upgrade and sewer.
Right, water, sewer, and
Yeah.
street repair, yeah.
So this is just your specials,
Yes,
and you're not gonna have specials to upgrade the water treatment plant. So that would fall under trying to get revenue.
that would be different than this.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, it'd be different, yeah.
Well,
Or, I guess that's
debt
not.
service funds is only what, basically heading to
What
the
page
state.
you on? Okay, debt service, yeah, I may have misspoke. I mean, there's a difference between, a debt service is basically special.
Right, and there, at this time, we're only assessing specials towards upgrade of streets and water and sewer at the property.
Correct.
So that's, this should really be kind of called or reference to.
Well, that's what debt, I may have misspoke when I said, it's debt service, it's more of a loan payment if we go for a.
But if we're talking about incoming money, we need to look at special revenue funds to bring in money for this intake system. So that falls under, you know, his question falls under this, doesn't it?
What page are you on?
Page 204 of special revenue funds.
You're back there at the 300 stuff?
Okay,
Well, yeah,
so you're back,
yeah.
okay, I didn't realize you went way back there, so, okay.
But if you're asking about income for the intake, that's not gonna be street and water upgrades, right?
Say that again?
What was the question?
The question is, where the money that extra 600,000, 1 million come out of? Does that come out of that debt service, or does it come out of,
And it was user fees,
and user fees, right?
right, and that's basically where it would come out of, is
Right.
user fees.
Okay.
Or possibly some of it could come out of sales and use. I'm not following you, I'm sorry.
Are you asking if we would have to take a loan out for it?
No, God, no. I'm just saying how you bring in money, the revenue, basically for, you were asking about that. I was simply just following back to, this is the ways you were gonna bring in revenue for your water upgrade, right? Article 304, 305, 426, those are all your ways of bringing in revenue to pay for this, right?
If, I'm not sure, but generally, if you have like an upgrade, you would have, let's say you get your money, okay, and then you put it in that fund, whether it be a loan, whether it be a grant or whatever, it goes in that fund. The revenue off that would be, I'm guessing, like interest or whatever you've gotten, right?
Yeah, because there's interest coming in from all those accounts. You can see the interest earnings that are coming in.
The thing is,
They have money sitting in them currently, and I'm guessing they all came from, well, most of them, so theoretically, a project should have, these project accounts should have no money sitting in there after a project is finished.
you're right.
If it does, then it can be transferred out at the end of the year to go to, or pay off principal, if there's anything remaining. Or you can leave it in there, like our one project, our capital project intake, hasn't been finished, so there's been money in there that have came from grants previously, or that's sitting in there that is earning interest, but has an amount in there because the project hasn't been finished.
And honestly, the intake account, it's possible that, and I don't know this, but it's possible it has money in there because, you know, so much was put in there to match what the state was giving us. Because we've already spent $250,000 on our intake. Our money, plus almost $485,000 of the state money. And for the plans and all that other stuff. So maybe there's money left over from that.
Right, and so, I guess what I'm seeing here is that 426, you have two accounts. And
Okay.
they have, one has 97,000, one has 107 and some change. Okay, so, wouldn't we say that this, between 304, 305, 426, these are all ways to basically find a way to fund that project, or basically maybe even split up 426 into its own? I guess, you know, because what different ways are we bringing in money to try to pay for that?
Oh, between the 304, 305, and 426, well, that's what we said, we were gonna look at all these and,
Mhm.
and kind of get it separated out and figure out where we're at.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm not following, just,
Right. I guess I was just following up with his question that basically these debt service funds are basically just specials. They have nothing to do-
exactly.
That's simply what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. And I did misspoke, I said, you know, you could maybe consider a loan as a debt service, but it kind of is, you know, but, yeah.
But if you did that, you would have to assess the specials throughout the city if you use this, then. This debt service fund.
Well, it would be a debt service fund if we decided to special it out to the city.
Right.
Yeah,
And right now, this is just roads and sewer, right
Right.
up to the property.
exactly. I don't think there's anything else on there, is there? It's just, because like,
Nope, it's just all the projects that have been completed already,
right,
that got special out.
yeah, yeah. I hope that answers your question. I hope that answers the question.
No, I'm fine, I got it.
Okay. Okay, Any other questions on that? Okay, now we got the enterprise funds. We're getting close to the end. Chelsea, can you explain a little bit of that?
Your water, sewer, and garbage, what we charge is what comes in. McLean Sheridan's supposed to be broken out. I don't think it is on the back end, and I didn't realize that until I was looking at numbers for this budget. So I need to figure out from the programmers if that's all combined into these water charges as a whole, instead of being separated out, just because I want what we're getting from them separated.
Yes.
It's supposed to be as its own line item. Otherwise, you can see what we've made so far in water charges, what came in for water salesmen, water meters, and then that new one now is a membrane maintenance fee, which is the flat rate of $1.50 that's being charged to every resident every billing cycle, and our seasonal hookup fees. Then you can go down to see where it offsets with our expenses. There again, you see the wages based on how their percentages are broken out. Adam has the highest underneath water.
Because he spends most of the time down there.
Mhm. And I increased there again, electricity, gas, propane. I increased the repairs and maintenance a little bit. We're gonna have to do tower inspections probably next year.
He's gonna try and get a cost on that?
Yeah, I think he's gonna
And
try.
we can have that for our next meeting.
Excuse me, Larry, do we rotate them, or do them all at once, all three in 1 year?
I think we generally do them all at once.
Okay.
They're here.
Right, so you
So,
might,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think they're behind, so I think he's doing all of them,
right.
from my
Makes
understanding.
the most
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, they're supposed to do that every, what, 5, 10 years, 7, 8 years, or 8, 10 years,
Yeah, I
something.
think every 5 he said.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Chemicals, I increased. I've been told that their percentage is increasing, roughly maybe 15%. I did increase that. I could probably knock that down maybe, or we can keep it high just in case. And then you can see where the debt principal is for here as well, for one of the specials that we have out for that. And then where we're sitting roughly, we're making money again next year for our water account. It got pretty depleted after we paid for our membrane, so.
Yeah. The membranes were like $300,000.
When do we, I know since I've been on, when do we normally look at rates for water? Is it in the fall?
It's something we need to do like really soon here.
Okay. So, I
And
mean, if
we
we're
have-
gonna look at an increase, we would need to look at it before the budget cycle in October, or,
Yeah, I guess
okay.
the last 2 years it hasn't been done until November, December, because then it was approved in December, so it could take effect in January, but.
Okay.
And I would really like to do it before then, so that there's a little bit of, because because if we raise rates, we need to have meetings with McLean Sheridan and other things, so, yeah.
Okay.
That motor that just went out down there, which account did you take that out of?
The aerator,
Yeah.
well, it'll come out of sewer, but it hasn't, the invoice hasn't been paid yet,
I've got to see.
And that was,
but that's for the lagoon, so that'll come out of sewer,
okay.
which is on then the next page.
Do you usually have enough money in there for replacement if stuff goes out like that?
Yeah, our sewer fund has quite a bit of money sitting in it.
Sewer fund is really doing well. yeah.
Okay.
We all, back to your, the water rates, we have started looking at the cost of water.
Right.
We got a thing from A2S, but then as we're going through our figures, we're about this far apart. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah, because I think I got here on, October is when I came on board, and I know it was after that, and I was just wondering if that was traditionally when you set the water rates, or we wanted to do it a little bit sooner.
I would like to do it sooner.
Okay.
Yeah. Remind me, Tim, and we'll get you copies of that.
Yep.
What Chelsea and Adam have been working on and what A2S have been working on.
Okay, thanks.
And you two have done.
Yep.
So,
Did you get a clarification from him on those numbers from Aaron?
not yet.
Okay.
So anyway, so we're looking at, total revenue after expenses on the water fund is about $121,000. Not that much. The water, water costs way more to upkeep than sewer does. So then we just go to the sewer fund.
I guess there's a question on that.
On the water?
Yeah,
Okay.
debt principal at 49, right now, well, I guess I don't have the years before, so maybe I'm totally out of line here, but 23,120, what's that debt principal?
Payment?
It's a water loan. Just say like our specials, but it comes out of the 601 account.
And the total per year, for this year, will basically equal 120 then?
That's projected next year based on what I have for what our payments are, but that payment, gets paid in October, so that's why there's no number in there. What's been paid so far for that interest and service charge went out in May, and then, because we usually have 2 payments a year, October and May are typically the months they go out, or April and October. One has the principal plus the interest and the debt service, one just has the interest and the service charge.
Sure, so it's a payment per month or whatever, I mean, this is a payment plan, so it's kind of how it's set up. You know.
Well, it's 2 payments.
Right.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's not
120 is what's going to be, it gets paid
Mhm.
once a year, so that 120,000 is what the yearly
Gotcha.
principal payment is.
That's-
Yep.
Yep, and this year will be 120,000 for this year.
Yes,
Yeah.
projected.
Okay, I notice on here too that, we got that thing down at the lagoon sitting in there. Is this the year that we have to buy that, if we decide to keep that thing?
Yes, it is.
That would be in October.
October.
And
And
I
that'll
don't
be
even
under
have that on
sewer,
here
yeah.
because it was one of the things that I have for an
Right.
agenda item to discuss on
Yep.
Okay.
before it gets to that point, if that's what we want to do. But
Yep.
And if we want to buy it, there's plenty of money in the sewer fund if we would decide to do that, so. yeah. Any other questions on water? Sewer? So, not really sure why we're 37,000 in the hole on that.
well, we decreased our commercial sewer by $3,
Oh,
and we don't have the extra, because it's just based on a flat rate now because
Yeah.
of the water, because it's not using sewer water anyway.
okay. I see. But, and we were actually talking about moving a equipment expense over to here, but I don't think we can do that.
And our sewer wages might be kind of high too.
They might be,
I just doubled it.
Yeah.
Depending on, because I know it's going to be low from what it was projected for this year. What the percentage of where's everybody's at?
yeah.
Repairs and maintenance could possibly be dropped down,
What do you got for repair and maintenance?
20,000. We don't use a whole lot of that.
You know what though, but if we need a pump, it's gonna be 20 grand. You know, for them
Yeah.
big pumps probably.
We're not probably going to be able to wait until next year to buy that. Well,
Right.
it seems to be working, I guess today it's stunk out there this afternoon.
I'm talking about one of them lift pumps, you know, that's not necessarily the aerator pump, but one of them lift pumps,
Oh.
lift station pumps. I
Yes,
mean,
okay.
Plus, you also gotta remember, we got lift station pumps at, Fleeger's lift station too, so, I mean, that,
Or machinery and equipment, I guess if there's 40 in there.
yeah, there is, we could,
The only other thing, a sewer camera
mm,
or a sewer machine, I know have been 2 requests, but
well, the thing is, I mean, if they wanna talk about stuff like that, you know, like our maintenance people, they need to go out and do a little research and say, hey, you know, not just say, I want this, you know, actually bring something to us, you know, research it and get numbers and stuff.
was the sewer camera talked about before,
Well, I mean,
or was it just discussed as a possibility?
it was probably just discussed as a possibility.
Okay.
The thing is, we have one, it's just that it uses VCR tapes, which is you know, somebody has a VCR.
Think?
Come on. So, but it's still words, you know, you just can't record it. It's not the end of the world, you know. So, and you know, they don't like the sewer machine, but if we've had it forever, maybe it's time to think about upgrading, but like I said, they need to go out and get information on this stuff. You know, not just say, I want a sewer machine. Well, that's kind of your responsibility to figure out what you need, what you want, let us know. You know, you can't budget if you don't have any idea.
Is there any way to budget for just paying a person with a camera like Roto-Rooter and just kind of subbing them to kind of come do that part, or is it more involved than that?
I would say that'd probably be under, maybe operation and maintenance or something. We have had other companies come in on occasion if we need them. You know,
'Cause it's not just buying the camera, it's the training the personnel to use it and all that too, so, I mean.
yeah, basically this one you just kind of shove it with your hand.
Right, yeah. But as far as getting that camera, I mean, it doesn't cost that much to have somebody snake that thing in camera and give you a report back.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
When that line broke in front of my house, they brought that camera in from that Roto-Rooter service, and he went down the line to look at it.
Yeah.
Kind of, you get a report back, you get a video back.
Yeah, and then he went both directions. He went one way and then the other way.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff, you know, you know, if we can do it with our own, we do it. If we can't, we hire somebody to do it. And but that comes out of like, you know, the sewer fund, you know. It's, I mean, we could up the number in here, I guess. We're already 37 in the hole. But like I said, it's a budget. It's not.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to up anything, I
No.
was just kind of.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I agree. You know,
I mean, if we got future expenses, like machinery and equipment, I'm sorry I'm stuck on that, but I mean, could we light item out, like what, we're exactly, like a vehicle or, you know, piece of equipment
Mhm.
to kind of make a projected, you know, future expense for it,
yeah.
or,
Well, and I think we had talked about like pickups, so we're in dire need of some pickups. Definitely need a couple pickups.
And we normally look at state fleet for that, when they have. pickups
State
come up.
fleet or the last one we got was from Surplus Properties.
Surplus properties, yeah.
And that last one, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't come up every day.
Yeah, so it's a little more difficult because you just going and specking a new pickup or specking this, we don't do that. We see what's available, we go through the list and see, you know, let's try this and this and this, you know, kind of.
We even turned down one of those pickups, didn't we?
One of them.
One was sent back, so.
So, you know, we should check and see what the state bid is on pickups.
Mhm.
Because the state gets one awesome price when they buy.
Right.
And we can buy for state bid price.
Yep,
So I think that's something we need to check, and those would be brand new.
yep, then we wouldn't have to go through that other process.
Yeah, I think we need to really check on that.
City can buy it, the same as like the county can.
Yeah.
I can't get the county to let us buy fire department vehicles through them. I didn't know the city could do the same thing.
Why won't they do that?
Yeah.
Whatever.
But no, that pickup my son's driving now, the Ford, supposedly the county bought that for half price, which anybody can buy one from Mighty for. But they had to go to Minnesota to get it.
We'll drive to Minnesota.
Road trip.
Yeah. So, yeah,
You guys-
we'll check into that.
We'll check
City
it.
can buy that? Yeah. I'll just-
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, any other question on sewer? If you got a lot of questions, that'd be for the next meeting, obviously, so. Or now, if you got one. Garbage fund, do we have the roll-off prices on here on garbage?
For additional ones?
Yeah.
No. That comes out of, well, I guess the expense, but we get X amount a year,
Right,
and then if we go over,
right.
is when we, for our contract, for how many grass dumpsters and ash dumpsters we get, and then for fall and spring and fall cleanup.
Right.
Did we need extra for the spring cleanup that we had?
Did we get one or two? We got one for sure. We possibly may have got two.
It's worth it, I mean, that way they end up with trash sitting around
Right.
town, so.
Yeah.
So is this our 5th year with Circle?
23 will be our 5th year, yes.
Okay, and that we had a 5-year.
Yes.
5 year, yeah.
So, I don't know, the only thing that gets changed off there with our contract then is if the landfill fee increases,
Right.
then we get a letter towards the end of the year that our rate is increasing, but just to compensate for landfill fees.
Right.
And then in 23, we'll have a renegotiation for a contract again, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Then one other question, do we have a mill levy cap?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like 101 mils or something.
Yeah, and we're at what?
For the
65.
general, yeah, total.
65. Okay, so we're,
That's for us, the library, the airport, and the efficiency, right? That's, we're at like, what, 65 roughly?
Yes.
okay,
So basically what, back to the front and what Chelsea was looking at was, general fund levy of 266,000 for us, 19,871 for the library and airport, and 5,000 for the special assessment deficiency, which comes to a total of 311,500. And that's basically, what'd you say, 65 mils roughly?
Yeah, I think it was 64, but,
Something like that.
yeah.
Which is right where we're at last year.
right.
You know, and we're actually sitting okay in our general fund, I think.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, it's a budget, you know, and
Right.
the thing is, you know, we get this money, if we don't get spent, it stays in the general fund. It's not like it magically disappears.
Okay, then, so in other words, the state cap is 101.
I think it's 105.
Or 105.
Maybe it's 105.
I think it's 105.
Yeah. Another question, Larry, so let's say, for instance, the sewer budget is 33, whatever, 30,000. If you end up with a category with sewer where you literally can't make any cuts, do you take it out of the sewer fund to make, you know, the sewer fund has, you know, money in it, do you take that out of there to balance that? Or how do you normally balance it? If you literally can't cut anything out, you take your, you know what I'm trying, I mean, you can either raise your mills to balance it, or you can take out of your,
Well, right, the thing is, yeah, you just, I mean, your expenses will come out of the sewer fund. It's a budget thing, this is what we think it's gonna be. If it's more, it just comes out of the sewer fund.
okay,
And then that ending balance that's currently sitting in that sewer fund of, that 700,000 or whatever would then decrease by the end of the year by that
Right.
additional $50,000.
yeah, because that's what I was wondering, because there are some times when you literally can't take anything out.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and and you can either raise the mills, or you can, correct, or you can.
And we don't wanna raise it, we don't have to.
That's what I'm saying, but I mean, those are your two options for revenue, either you raise a mill, or you, I guess I'm trying to go back to my old school board days, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Audience, anything?
Yeah. Did you receive our ask for?
I haven't seen it.
Hartford's here.
Yeah, we asked for 25,000, and I can very definitely tell you exactly what's for the roof on the pool.
It'll be for what?
Roof on the pool.
Okay. I will read through your budget.
Okay, great.
And then,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
I haven't received it, so.
But then I have one other question, just
Yeah.
if you guys are getting new pickups, is there one of your pickups that the park board could buy? Or
We
do we
might
not want to?
even, it depends what we get, we might even donate one. You never know.
Give them away?
Well, you don't know, we're willing, I mean, I just was thinking, you know, if it's here and you've got to do something with it, if it's worth us owning,
Well, I really think that if, you know, if we can help out, we want to. And since we're both government entities, if we could, you know, pass it on.
because we need
Or
to
for an
pick up.
extremely low figure, you know, because if we try and sell them, we're not gonna get that much more of them.
No.
So,
Well, that's why I
that's
thought,
my
I'm
opinion,
gonna
that's
ask
my
right
opinion,
now.
so, yeah.
Okay,
But, yeah,
I want power steering and leather seats.
Moonroof?
power steering, okay. power arm steering?
Well, I'm just saying, if you guys think one of those trucks would be worth it for us to have, if you're saying they're done for, then probably not. But if they're not done for, and it's just gonna be used around town, it's not like we're gonna send it up and down to businesses.
Right. Well, the thing is, I mean, we use ours every day,
Yeah,
winter, summer, everything, you know, and we
Yeah.
need a little bit more reliable
Yeah.
vehicle.
You have a truck now?
yeah,
You do? One, two?
One.
One?
Yeah.
uh-huh. And it hauls grass,
Right.
it, you know, it, whatever we, if it needs whatever.
Yeah,
Do you get how many miles a load?
yeah. So,
They're
okay.
like,
But we'll look through that, and then,
Do you have your written request actually typed out stating that you're asking for 25,000?
Mhm.
you don't have that? Oh,
Yeah,
did you, send it to the city or what?
No, Mark dropped it off last week.
Oh, he did? But-
Yeah, I got the profit and loss, their budget here.
That's not in there? Oops.
That's why I was like, did I miss it?
Okay, you might wanna check on that and get it,
okay, what don't we have, you're saying?
the request.
Oh, yeah, we did it.
Yeah,
Okay, and
it should be a signed,
request
should be
was
a
for-
signed request.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was for 25,000.
Okay.
And I can't give you an exact cost on the roof because no serious contractor is going to give you a bid unless you've got the cash, you know, you're ready to go. And, you know, there's so many things that cost that change daily and availability. I mean, they might not be able to get tar paper come September. You know, you just don't know. So
Right.
it's,
No, I know.
it's pretty hard for us to give you a line by line.
So is this something you plan on doing this year?
Yeah, we want to do it this fall. Yeah. The roof is shot, and we are going to put a roof over the change room.
So this is a request for this year, not for next year?
Right.
I see.
But we would, you know, it would be, we could be paying it for next year.
Oh, this is for the swimming
We'll
pool
look at
building over
It
there?
is, yep.
Yeah, we'll look at the budget and then, yeah, but we'll need the request, you know.
Yeah.
It's like all the requests need to be in writing, so.
Yeah, I thought that there,
Yeah.
I'll look on my desk too, Judy, but I don't have it with the rest of the budget
Well,
that.
it's okay,
so-
okay.
I'll
I'll
get
look.
a copy of it.
Okay,
My only
sorry.
problem is my computer was hacked, so I don't have one of those. That came right after my fire.
Yeah, what was up
Oh,
with that?
no.
I know what it, I already heard about it.
That was a good part.
Yeah, good fire.
Nobody died, nobody got lost.
Nobody, yeah, nobody got hurt.
Better than the other fires in town.
Yeah, no.
All right, anybody have anything else on the
Matt
budget?
gets hurt. And so I couldn't, I had to call the fire department because he couldn't move.
Okay, we will,
When I called him fire, I wasn't gonna be able to move.
okay, we'll call this budget meeting ended.